I'm Luke Summerhaze.
I'm James J. Miles.
And I'm James the Jaster Stewart.
And I'm Mus.
I'm Rey Skywalker.
And you're listening to Monster Mash.
And on this week's episode, we are hunting Rey Dau.
Monster Mash. It was a graveyard smash. It caught on in a flash. They did.
The monster that's under my bed. Get along with the voices inside of my head. You're trying to
The flying wyvern that reigns supreme over the Windward Plains ecosystem. It has adapted to the sand tide, where it most frequently appears, and is able to store, amplify, and discharge the storm's heavy lightning to lethal effect. Rey Dau is highly territorial, and will attack any and all intruders on sight. The fulgurite against its carapace emits a sound that puts every monster in the region on guard.
I love it when monsters discharge their abilities.
It might just be the fact that it was in...
discharge.
It might just be the fact that it was in the first beta. But I think this monster... I know it isn't, but to me this monster feels like more of this game's flagship.
See, that's interesting because I saw people saying that on the wiki and stuff.
Yeah, a lot of people were saying that.
I definitely don't get that.
Do you not?
Because it only shows up to get punked by Arkveld in the campaign.
Sure, in terms of the story, but I think that comes from a lot of people in the community, like when Rey Dau was first teased, we didn't know the flagship at the time.
Yeah.
So everybody's like, oh, this new flying wyvern, is this the flagship? And a lot of people were straight away, they're also comparing it to Shigaru Megala because of the colouring of it. And so they people adopted the name Thor Megala.
Mm-hmm.
It's got the a bit of Astalos vibes as well, just by virtue of being a flying thunder dragon, right? So
yeah.
So yeah.
I'm actually surprised you're the one who brought that up, Jay, because I feel like that's something that happened to people who were following the trailers and trying to squeeze every little nugget out of them. Whereas me and you were both taking more of a, we didn't want to see anything until the game came out approach.
I guess, but it just... I mean, obviously I know it's not the flagship. It just isn't. But it just, to me, it feels like it had more of an impact on me. Than Arkveld. And again, this might just be the fact that it was a secret bonus fight in that first beta, and it was such an impressive...
Yeah, see, I didn't play the betas as well.
Yeah, I only played one, but it felt like such an event fighting that guy, and just with the sheer presence that Rey Dau has as a monster and as a fight.
They also, so for me, based just on playing the actual game, Rey Dau, the first time you fight him, you've just seen him get beaten by another monster. So he felt like the opposite of a flagship. He felt like kind of a chump. They undersold him in a way.
Then he gets back up and he's like, I didn't hear no bell.
See, I fought Rey Dau illegally. I fought him before you were meant to, and I got told off, and I didn't get rewards for it. But he I don't know. I felt a presence with Rey Dau. I think it's such an impressive change in the environment when Rey Dau's amped up and in the area. The apexes in this game are very supernatural, but I feel like Rey Dau is the most super of all the supernatural just because of how amped up everything gets. Plus the sound effects and stuff. Like,
yeah, he has that electronic sort of almost mechanical noises.
I think.
Well, I guess also just lightning is everything else. I could imagine a real creature that squirts water, or just is very large. I guess fire, not so much, but like lightning and electricity, it just feels so tied into like technology and/or magic. You don't imagine a natural creature being able to produce it, even though I guess it's a thing that actually real creatures do produce.
Yeah, electric eel, right? Yeah.
It's funny because the area that Rey Dau is the apex of, mostly the monsters there, it's kind of the beginner area. You go back and forth, don't you, across the various regions throughout the natural play of the game?
Yeah, this game does quite a good job of no one area feels like first or last, because you go back and forth between all of them. But obviously the Windward Plains is literally
I feel
first.
like, I don't know, when the monster the notes that you read say that it puts every monster on guard, I think it probably bloody does, because there's not much competition left for him out there other than Arkveld, when Arkveld's like roaming around. Rey Dau is...
I've seen many a Chatacabra like just hightailing it.
Yeah.
And Rey Dau's about, like, I saw moments where there's like two Chatacabras just like blitzing it through the desert, like trying to get away.
Shit, boys, we gotta get out of here.
Yeah,
it's so good when you see stuff like that. It just makes the like world like feel way more alive, and makes like monsters like Rey Dau like feel like way more threatening.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting the point about Arkveld being his only threat as well, and whilst yes, he does get punked by Arkveld in that first appearance, he does then get up and fight the hunter. But I was looking up like about Rey Dau's turf wars, and obviously he smashes everything in the Windward Plains, and he gets beaten by Arkveld in the turf war, but apparently he's the only apex that actually gets some licks in. The others just kind of get the hug of death. So he is positioned as, I suppose, in that sense, one of the more dangerous of the apex monsters in this game, which, I can buy that.
Well, yeah, to be fair, the other apexes, when they fight Arkveld, we don't fight them after, right? Arkveld kills them.
Yeah.
Whereas this guy has a fight with Arkveld and is still alive enough for us to have a hunt. So you've got to give him his props.
And props we should give him, because...
And I do, so I should say, all of my slagging him off in my argument that he's not doesn't feel like the...
Flagship.
He's probably my favourite monster.
That's what I was about to say. We should give him all the props, because this is my
From
favourite
Wild.
monster. Yeah.
I love his design. I love him like transforming his face into a railgun to zap you from across the map.
He's definitely
the first
one of,
hunt.
like, the best
The first hunt I fainted on in this game.
Yeah, I mean, there's a monster I do like a bit more, just a little bit, but the more I fight this guy, the more he's creeping up there to usurp that top spot for me as well. I think he's just...
Yeah, I like a couple of the others that are coming up soon
Yeah.
as well, so that opinion may shift, but at the moment, just... Plus also, because this game doesn't overdo it on, like, wyverns and dinosaurs,
Yes.
I can appreciate him. In a way where maybe if he'd been introduced in a different game, maybe I would feel very
I
different.
think he's got obviously the iconic railgun, and the noises that go along with it are very unique to Rey Dau. I've not heard nothing like that in no Monster Hunter game before, I can tell you that for true. But I would say that...
Me and Mercer from Somerset
All right, mate.
listeners didn't know.
No, but I would say... sometimes you just got to get out your system, don't you, mate? I would say there's a really nice rhythm when you fight Rey Dau. A lot of the attacks will come up into the air and then crash back down onto his wing attack, I guess you could call it. When that happens, I feel like a matador. I feel like I just have to time my sidestep one way or the other very slightly, and I'm almost like taming this insane beast. No disrespect to Matadors, but Rey Dau is a little bit more impressive. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, you can disrespect Matadors.
Yeah, I know, it's a silly thing. But yeah, I don't know. There's a really nice. I mean, I don't think he's too challenging. We can talk about the difference between like the Arch Tempered one and the standard ones, I guess, in a bit. But I don't think he's too challenging. But I think there's a really nice balance of like learning his patterns and just getting stuck in. Mm-hmm. He does enough damage to like be a bit of a threat if you get hit by his mega cannon. But
yeah, I think he's clearly like. I think to me anyways, he's clearly like one of the first monsters like Capcom designed for this game. To like feed into the whole like focus mode system and stuff like that. It's just the openings he has and like the certain kind of, like you mentioned, like the wing slam move that he has. It's just all set up for you to kind of counter hit when he does moves like that.
He has a really
Especially
nice
you have this like
balance
certain weapons for it.
Of he can absolutely smash you, but you can learn him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like I have absolutely no doubt that like the speed runs on this guy, they're just ducking and weaving around him like Muhammad Ali, and he's not getting close.
But he feels like a textbook dragon fight, in terms of how well executed it is to me.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, this is Capcom showing off like, oh, we mastered this shit.
With the dragon fight, like he could have, I think, quite easily have, especially like with his serrated arms, had a lot of overlap and maybe felt a bit familiar when you compare him to Steve Serragios.
Yeah, Serragios. He's even got the same sort of goldish colouring.
Yeah, because like Serragios will do those wing slam attacks as well, but there's just something about the way
he flies and does them is so different.
It's more like a drive-by, right? Like that's the whole thing.
Because he swoops his wings like Serragios and he puts like shooting out the blades to kind of get bleed on you.
He sounds like as well when he's doing those drive-by moves. He sounds like the noise is like a train on the tracks. Like that's what I hear when he's like grinding through the sky. Like running his wings along the ground. It sounds like a railway track to me, like a high powered train, like a subway train, for example.
Yeah, well, a lot of his sound effects are very mechanical and electrical,
purposely, right? Yeah.
It gives him a really unique audio sort of atmosphere as well as visual.
There's something I can't quite put my finger on it. But there's something very complementary between the sounds of Rey Dau and the music that accompanies him as well. Like I really enjoy the music, and it's like,
yeah, his music reminds me of the soundtrack to the Monster Hunter film.
How come? I haven't watched it.
That's
just the way it brings in the sort of the Monster Hunter movie was all synths. Because I remember my complaint being like, Monster Hunter has an amazing soundtrack, and this is cool, but it sounds fuck all like it. Whereas this does kind of bring in a lot of that more like electronic-y, synthy.
They've dabbled with that in the past. Like I remember,
World started bringing that in. Like I remember Rotten Vale.
Rotten Vale. That's specifically the one I was thinking of. Yeah.
But like the entire Monster Hunter movie had zero proof of the hero. So
a sin.
See,
unless you watch the Japanese dub where it comes in when they do the Japanese credits after the main credits.
Tell you what does have proof of a hero. Tar.
Spoilers.
I think apart from Jindahad, obviously, I think Rey Dau does a good job of actually carving out, like in a gameplay sense, his own niche in the area as well. Like he has his own arena.
And what they build it, it's like you can see it from a distance, and they build it up, and then it's like, oh, I actually get to go there.
Yeah.
And it changes the fight as well once you're actually fighting them in there. Like it's sort of got all the electricity on the ground, and you've got to kind of dissipate it with the pods.
Yeah, really cool mechanic.
Otherwise, when he swings his like wings across the ground, it does like extra electric shocks.
I think that's the bit. Like, when we were doing the hunt, and we were in that area, there's just moments where the music kind of crescendos, goes like da 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 da, and then you just sometimes Rey Dau times it perfectly where he's charging up his railgun, and you just hear the, and it's just like it all just works so well, especially in that area. It's a very eye-catching contrast to the rest of the area as well.
For mood, it really works that you're in the sandstorm and all the lightning's going off and all of that. But similar to what I said with Uthduna, there is a little bit of me that's... it's a shame that you very rarely get to see Rey Dau in the sunlight and like appreciate him. He's always in such muted colours and whatnot. And it works in the moment, especially the first time you hunt him.
I think that's just a general.
But
Like,
I would like to see him a bit nicer.
Like the preset quests, like a lot of the time, are just like they're set in a certain like weather period.
Yeah.
So I think that's just why
especially
you get
for
that impression if you're
these
like
guys.
if you're fighting them like
Apexes.
over in different, like just like free roam, like the map, like you will catch them at points. Where
That's true.
they're
That's
out
true.
in a sunny.
I've done
Sunday
so
nights.
little free roam. I need to fix that, I guess.
And it definitely is. It's a lot nicer seeing them daily. I agree. Like it is like it's a big complaint that like a few people like kind of have about the muted colours.
Well, I
of
see
the
people talk
in
about this
general.
game having like bad visuals,
Oh, I disagree.
and I'm like,
wholeheartedly.
I don't agree at all.
but the game does not put its best foot forward, right? I can see how you'd play it for 20 hours, put it down, and come away with that impression.
I definitely had to readjust my settings like to get it. Look,
You also have to
get the
change the
colours
settings to
to
make
pop.
it look good,
Mm.
yeah.
And it is like they do have like a weird filter, which a lot of new games kind of do these days, where like they want to put like a kind of almost monochrome filter over their game to make it look more cinematic, which you can't turn
Yeah.
off on PS5, sadly.
Hey, you can't turn off.
You can't, no.
Oh, fuckers.
But you can get like I said, if you're footing about with like the settings and stuff like that, you can definitely get the colours to pop like way more. And it does look quite nice once you get it right.
Now, on another note, and well, you guys might not know this, but this is the first monster that's not an Elder Dragon that's got an Arch Tempered version.
Is that so?
Yeah.
Wow.
I wonder
Yeah.
who told you that.
Me, I told you guys that.
Me. I told me that.
Jay's just very aware of Monster Hunter. He knows this
Yeah,
stuff.
I know everything there is to know. But I mean, Arch Tempered Fight is not radically different. I mean, that's the nature of Arch Tempered monsters, right? But it's got a few interesting additions to its moveset. The double like aftershocks it does like make you think twice. Like I got clipped by it did an aftershock after its big like massive railgun blast, and I was kind of rushing in to go and get some hits, and caught me out. So
Does a little
some cool stuff.
It does a little kind of quick hop, like a little flight trip into the sky, and does a little rail cannon strike, a little quick one. It can catch you out as well. I've noticed.
Yeah, it does little double moves, and also I feel like it does a little delays before some of its moves as well, just to catch you out.
That wouldn't surprise me.
But so, not to go back to this for too long, but the old "is this game too easy" thing. That Arch Tempered Hunt, I did it and I felt like, this is about where like fighting a monster like this should have been from the start for me.
100%. Yeah, I mean, you'll hear it next week, listeners. But you did finish the hunt by saying this feels like Monster Hunter. I totally agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just more stuff to kind of worry about in the fight, and like I think a lot of it comes from Arch Tempered Rey Dau's like double hit moves that he has, and like the extra kind of lightning, and just little moves that can just surprise you, like when he combos in and out of them.
It's even the damage numbers and stuff like that as well. Like I feel you have to have a bit more respect for the monster, which you don't really in normal high rank fights.
Definitely.
I mean, again, that's the aspect of it not being a G rank game, right? Like you're gonna we probably find that the base game is too easy now, just how it is.
Yeah. For sure. But I have seen, I was listening to The Back Page, shout out to that podcast, where one of their hosts is kind of not a Monster Hunter guy. He's, I think, like, played a little Wild and then played this one. And he was saying that, like, going through the campaign, it didn't leave an impression. And didn't really feel like he got that Monster Hunter feeling of having to build up to quests and make gear and do everything. So, as a beginner, or almost beginner, he was feeling it to some extent. So it's not just a case of, like, we've played Monster Hunter for 10 years, of course we're going to get that.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure is part of it.
It's definitely got easier.
But I think it has... because the thing with Monster Hunter is it's not just easy, it's... there's supposed to be a rhythm where you need the gear to do the hunts.
Yeah.
And once you remove that, it's like, what are you playing? You're just playing...
That's the one thing I've always said.
Boss fights and then credits.
I think it's more of a, rather than it being like a difficulty like problem, it's the quest structure and like the overall structure of the game isn't like, really where it should be, or where like Monster Hunter, in my opinion, like where it shines the most is
and also,
is that
like,
game, is that general kind of quest structure and gameplay loop.
To bring it back to Rey Dau, even we were talking about the whole thing with him like not really getting to shine because of just he gets bullied by the actual flagship.
Yeah.
And like that's relevant because that's kind of what the mistake they've made with this whole game is you play that campaign and you're not really seeing any of what makes this game shine. So for new players, sure, they've made it a little bit easier for them, but they're going to play through that little campaign, be like, oh, what was that? And then it's not going to get them into Monster Hunter.
No real monsters that stand out as a wall, right? Like you would have had that, like fond memories of fighting in the
See,
older games.
I don't know that it's just about the monsters. I've had this discussion, I think, with a few people.
I know where you're going, Matt, and I think you're right.
Monster Hunter Wilds is strange because it's like you're not in the wild. You're in like a big game safari park where every monster and when it's going to appear and leave the area is like timetabled for you. When you think about it, I feel like I'm on a big game safari. And I suppose that's partially because I thought Rey Dau looked fucking sick and I just wanted to tussle with it completely with the wrong gear early doors, just because. But there's not an awful lot necessarily in the world to explore. There's a lot of things to see, but like to discover, I don't know. A lot of things are just things are almost on a menu for you now. You've got the UI for the map. You can go, show me where all the mushrooms are. I think you have to enter an area like for the first time, but as soon as you've entered an area for the first time, everything about it is
just like populates everything.
Everything about the area is known, even if you, the player, haven't like seen all of it yet. So I'm like, for me, I don't know. It's just about the monsters. I think it's the way that you move through the game. But yeah, Rey Dau was, I don't know, like a little bit flagship to me. It's why I was drawn to his allure and I wanted to have a go, even though what's her name, Alma, was saying, please stop, please.
That's kind of funny as well.
They
don't do that. Like when Capcom have been known in previous Monster Hunter games to surprise you on a quest with a new monster, and they'll let you fight it if you want. Like a Devil Joe or like a Glavenus in Generations Ultimate.
Yeah, I remember trying to fight the Fated Four when they first turned up.
Like when it puts you on like a mushroom quest, and they're like, "Oh, this is just a normal mushroom quest."
They did it
for all.
Like, so it's kind of weird. The Wilds kind of just like goes the complete opposite like route of like, no, you can't fight that yet.
Yeah,
like, you see an awesome monster for the first time, and you're just like, stops you.
I'm not saying I want a return to like Worlds and the way you had to track monsters' footprints and all that kind of stuff, but
please God, no, that was such
I'm not saying I want that, but I'm also not saying that I want what Wilds gives you.
They need to find like a good like kind of middle ground to kind of.
I think once you're in post game, what WoDs gives you, that just constant fulfillment. You can change the time zones, make monsters appear, fine. But during the campaign and stuff, I don't know. I think there's something missing in terms of your integration as a hunter into the ecosystem.
Yeah, because my sort of headcanon for the reason we've got like timetable in and the map's so well laid out is just that the survey team obviously do a great job of, tracking the monsters for you, the hunter, to then find. But this is pure pie in the sky stuff, but it would have been cool to maybe see some sort of, like you said, way to integrate that into the gameplay. Like you level up each zone to like level up your overall research score. Like initially you don't get that info. It does, but hey, they had some ideas there.
Yeah. They're not Gadenlands isn't all bad. Like I'll give them that. Like, but yeah, like it's kind of there's like it's
They
so
had
weird.
some
Like,
ideas that
some
just
of like the
could have
like
banged
again,
back.
it leads in like for me it leads to like the whole overall structure and design of the game. Like it feels like they're really kind of caught in two minds of what they wanted like Wilds to be. They were like almost like they wanted to kind of lean in almost to like a survival aspect in a Monster Hunter game, but then reined themselves back in going, well, we want to attract all these new players, so we don't want to go the whole way with a survival element to it. So they rein it back in, and that's why they give you like all the info on the map and stuff like that to kind of just so you have every bit of information at your fingertips. So it's easy.
It does feel like a team that's kind of divided. Like it really feels like there was a voice on that team that was like, we want this integrated world where you spend time in the map, where you never go back to the base, where you have to forage and make do, and like you say, just like a survival element.
Mm-hmm.
And then someone, and I don't know this, but it feels like a higher up at Capcom or something, was like, no, Western gamers don't want that. They want a 20-hour campaign with walk and talk sections that lead you through it.
That Arthur Morgan chatting to all his cowboy friends. I like the cut of his jib. More of that in my Monster Hunter game, please.
Yeah, man.
So the Rey Dau.
Yeah, so we're going to go. Yeah, so we go back to the Rey Dau. Little tangent there.
I tried to even bring the tangent back to Rey Dau, and then we just kept going.
Yeah.
It's all good shit.
Yeah,
it's all good shit.
People are listening like 20 episodes deep at this point. They're into Monster
Yeah.
Hunter. And also, I've seen our same feelings everywhere, so I don't think people are going to be annoyed at hearing it.
Quick, say something contentious about Monster Hunter.
It's too hard still. They should make it easier. Stories is the best one. So Rey in Spanish, spelled like that, means king.
Yes.
So it makes sense for an Apex to throw that in there. On the wiki, they mention the Vietnamese word Dau, which means leader, which is very like, oh, it's the leader king.
It's King.
Yeah. Whereas I did find a tweet from a guy named Fumimin Eridin saying that Rey Dau is the Spanish word king and the Arabic word light, which with the lightning and everything, I'm more inclined to think that is deliberate. Yeah. And there are other monsters which do bring in Arabic words and stuff. They use a lot of different languages in this game. I just like the name Rey Dau. It sounds sort of, I guess because it's a little bit close to radar, it sounds a little bit technologic-y, like we were talking about earlier with the sound effects.
Just makes me think of wrestling.
Who's that jumping?
It makes me think
of
why.
Yeah, that's what I did last week. Yeah. Pet peeve of mine was always where the people typed it out Ray, like that's his name.
Oh,
like God, it's Ray.
Along with Steve and Ray.
As for the weapon names, they are all based on thunder gods from different mythologies.
Yes.
Which obviously makes a lot of sense. Thunder gods are like one of the most universal gods. Every mythology in the world has a thunder god, basically. Which makes sense, because when you don't know what's going on, thunder and lightning seems like it's got to be some sort of fucking god, right?
Also, it's weather that's ubiquitous with, I suspect, most of the globe, right?
That's true.
Whereas snow, a little bit more a little bit less so.
But specifically a myth of a thunder god slaying some sort of dragon or serpent is almost ubiquitous. And one thing that I really enjoy reading about is the Proto-Indo-European people, which is sort of a speculative culture which probably existed before most of the current European cultures, because like so many shared myths and little elements of language and stuff. And a thunder god which slew a serpent eventually basically became the Christian god, because he was just like a one desert tribe's thunder god and is now god.
Where's that chapter in the Bible?
In pretty early on, when they literally talk about their god fighting other gods and stuff. And then a couple chapters later, they're like, no, there's no other gods, actually. Ignore that stuff.
They're like, here, wait a minute, we can get away with
1984.
You see, we're the only one.
Any closing thoughts on Rey Dau?
Do you guys remember... None of us ever fought it, but we talked about it and we looked at YouTube videos of it. When they did that Metal Gear crossover, and there was like flesh monster version of Metal Gear Rex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fighting Rey Dau really makes me want them to bring that back. With his little railgun face.
Only if Snake can fight a Rathalos again.
Mm-hmm.
It's only fair.
Like the big boss armor. The boss armor, that'd be great.
Maybe once his chops off Walking Dead can fight a Rathalos now instead.
You know, I'm just going to be sad when there's a new Monster Hunter game and it doesn't have Rey Dau in it, because I really like Rey Dau. That's my main thoughts on Rey Dau.
You've still got you've got an expansion to go after this, so
oh yeah, I'm
just likely be a subspecies.
Yeah, we're gonna get G-rank Rey Dau.
Rey Dau is like when
a subspecies possibly would be interesting.
Rey Dau is like when you finish a really good book and you're happy to have read it, and then sad that you have to find something else to read. That's what I'm saying.
See, I always have all my books lined up on a shelf so that I always know exactly what I'm reading next.
Well,
because I buy books at a stupid rate compared to how quickly I read them.
So you're saying for this there's no cure because Capcom aren't going to line up the next the next game as quickly as you can line up books.
Alas.
Capcom.
Well,
but they also are pretty good. They always put in at least one monster that I really like.
Yeah, they keep catering to me by bringing back Gore Magala, so I'm fine with that.
They threw 2 in just for you on this game.
And I'm all set for the next time.
Which also, are talking about my favourites, they're probably up there for me.
Itsy bitsy spider, gonna knock you out. Jab you with its stinger, make you shout out. It's Drusilla.
The least itsy or bitsy of spiders.
So yes, join us as we chat about Drusilla again.
What do you mean again? I haven't chatted about it once.
We did a Drusilla podcast about
Shut
6 years
up!
Yeah.
A returning monster.
It's not canon.
Very interesting, because we've only done one returning monster so far, right, with Congalala? Mm-hmm. So I'm very interested for you to tell us about all the things we said about Drusilla.
You know, you could also go back and listen to it.
I could, but... yeah, no, maybe I will.
Yeah, called him out.
But if the listeners want to go back and listen
Don't
to
do that. Don't do
we
that.
can
Don't do
do
that.
that.
Stick with sort of world onwards.
Oh, I thought it was a good segue.
I don't stand by anything I said in that. I haven't listened back yet, but I'm sure I say something.
I'd hope so.
I'm just silent throughout. But if you enjoyed this podcast, you can find more by going to podcastiopodcastius.org. You can help support it by going to patreon.com/podcastiopodcastius. And you can find us on Blue Sky at Podcast. And if you're into the Monster Hunter, we have done an awful lot of episodes, so your favourite monster is in there somewhere. Just be careful going back too far, because you're going to be hearing laptop mics recorded directly through Skype.
Part of the charm.
So if you want to go to Amazon and buy some nice Blue Snowball mics for my co-hosts here and send them out, maybe get me an upgrade as well while you're at it. You know, there's no donation too small and there's no donation too large. Bye!
Bye!
Yeah, what's your name? I'll let you come from.
Because Luke didn't do it. Perfection.